Hello and welcome to Coffee with the Librarians week of December 11th, where we are going to talk all about life lessons. I've got a preview of what's to come, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to hit a little bit differently. To begin, the librarians are keepers of the records of the lessons that we are here on Earth to learn. So those of us who are on Earth right now are on Earth specifically to learn lessons. Laura, my mind said, well, what about to enjoy? Aren't we here to enjoy and to connect and to love? And they said, don't you see that's all part of the lessons too? Yes, you are here to learn. You are here to learn lessons around connection and joy and oneness and all of that. But what it is the lesson. What matters is the lesson. You are here for the lesson. They are the keepers of the records of the lessons that all of us have learned. So they begin by posing the query, what are the lessons that you have learned, and what are the lessons that you are here to learn? What are the lessons that you have learned? There's so much shame, there's so much sadness, there's so much grief that we carry around our lessons that cuts off the power of that lesson oftentimes. We should have joy and satisfaction and an enormous amount of pride for the lessons that we have learned, because as with a library, when you finish the book and you've read it and you've understood it and you close it and you put it back on the shelf, there is that sense of pride and satisfaction. And that's what we should have when we learn the lessons, especially when they are the harder lessons to learn. Okay, I have learned that. I have learned that lesson, close the book, put it back on the shelf. Instead of the shame that we had to learn that lesson. And what they're asking for all of us to do, for you to do, for Lora to do, for everybody to do, is to shift and to start having some of the pride around those lessons learned, because they're tough lessons. And you came here to learn them. And oh, this is a big one. They said sometimes people say this phrase, when I'm doing everything right, why is it so hard? Because you've learned so many lessons, you're getting more. It's sometimes a good thing to have an overwhelming amount of lessons because you're a good student, because you are being elevated to the master's level, to the doctorate level, to all of that. So sometimes when we are very adept at learning our lessons, a lot comes in. And it is not a punishment. You are not being punished. Oh, they're talking about the lessons of Job in the Bible. That's interesting. Job was a very good student. Job learned a lot of these lessons. A lot of these things that happened were the lessons that were coming in. It's not that somebody is condemned. You're only condemned when you don't learn your lessons. You're only condemned when you don't seek the lessons. You're only condemned when you don't take the book off the shelf to learn those lessons. That is a life wasted. A life wasted is a life where we have no lessons. A life well lived is a life where you've moved through a lot of those different lessons. So, yes, I hear. So the first question is, what are the lessons that you have learned? And they're specifically asking you to name those lessons. To name those lessons. When you name it and you own it, you will find more peace around it, and you will be more able to not let it go, but to integrate and to move on and to put that book back on the shelf. They're showing me my bedside table where I have all of these different books that I'm not quite done with, that I want to go back through and that I want to review different parts, that I want to reread this or share this. Naming the lessons that you have learned helps you assimilate so you can fully integrate that lesson and move on. The second question that they want me to query, and it's query, it's not ask. I don't know why, but it's to query. what are the lessons that you still want to learn? Because when you name those lessons that you still want to learn, there's a sense of excitement and almost joy when those lessons come in. Aha, this is it. I've just learned this. And instead of feeling sad, grief, shamed, discontent that a lesson is coming in, you have identified it. And then you're like, okay, this is it. This is it. I'm learning the lesson around self-worth, heartache, betrayal, whatever it is. So what are the lessons that you have learned? Name those so you can integrate them and move on. And what are the lessons that you still want to learn? And they're saying do that not with a trepidation that, oh, I don't want to call this in, but what are the lessons you want to learn? I do want to learn more about my self-worth. I do want to learn more about my power. I do want to learn more about agency, authority, love, connection, oneness, whatever it is. Because naming it catalyzes the energy around those experiences, and you will have a better time learning the experience. It's like when you say, I'm going to sign up for math class, and then you show up and they're doing math, you're more excited about it. And even if you're like, calculus is really hard, trig is really hard, I hate it, you have identified that you want to sign up for math class versus saying, I'm not going to label that. And then you show up in a math class and it's all English. That's even more confusing. And then that makes the learning process more difficult to begin, and it draws it out. So if you want to keep moving through that, name it first. And then the third piece, this came in this based on a question from me, from Laura, was, I don't like that you said good students get more lessons. I don't like that. I want peace. And they laughed and they said, Laura, you misheard that a little bit. Yes, good students move more quickly and can get more of those lessons, but then they integrate it so that they can learn the higher lessons. Those higher lessons are the lessons that feel good, the lessons of oneness and unity and love and success and joy and all of that. So move through those lower lessons in order to access the higher level of lessons. And they're saying that second question that they had asked, which was, what are the lessons you still want to learn? They're saying you can choose some of those. I want to learn what it's like to live in a state of oneness. I want to learn what it's like to access bliss more regularly. I want the lesson of, and to move into those higher level lessons and to claim that for yourself. Did I get all of that? They said it's a weighty subject, Laura, but yes, you did get all of that. So let me know if you have any questions. That was a fun one. And I'm really curious what some of your lessons were and what some of your lessons will be. I think you know the lesson I specifically work around is betrayal, healing the wound of betrayal, because that's a big, talk about weighty. That's a big lesson. So let me know what some of your lessons are. Let me know what are lessons learned and what you will be moving into. And I will see you next week. Bye.